Both of Florida's U.S. senators say the Chinese government is meddling in our nation's public schools.
Yeah, Senators Marco Rubio, Rick Scott, and 17 others are now urging the Department of Education to investigate China's efforts to influence our children. Fox 13 political editor Craig Patrick in now to explain their concerns. Craig?
Well, for context, around 20 years ago, China formed what it calls Confucius Institutes, or classroom projects that were partnerships with American universities in which China offered China-funded foreign language classes and lessons on Chinese culture. That's the backstory. Then 3 years ago, the State Department designated these Confucius Institutes as a foreign mission, or part of a foreign government information campaign, which raised concerns that China was trying to indoctrinate American college students. And so Congress responded by restricting some federal funds from universities that hosted these programs. And as a result, universities severed most of those partnerships. But now Senators Rubio and Rick Scott and 17 other Republicans sent a letter to the U.S. Department of Education claiming that China is at it again, this time rebranding in many cases and offering grants and similar classes to certain K-12 schools. And the senator's letter cites a report from a conservative advocacy group called Parents Defending Education, which claims to have found evidence of these types of programs from China in 34 states in recent years, and programs still active in 7 of those states. Now, Florida was not on their list of states, but Scott and Rubio's long-running concerns of China's efforts to manipulate the United States in different ways drove their concerns about this. Again, this follows years of controversy over China's partnerships with some universities, which in turn have partnered with K-12 schools to make the same China-funded lessons available to younger students.
Too many universities are gullible, are not realizing the magnitude of this threat. This is a concerted, organized, systematic threat to undermine our universities and undermine our economy.
The teachers are hand-selected and paid by the Chinese government. The textbooks are being sent over and paid for by the Chinese government.
And the concern on that point is that those books and lessons may be presented from a distorted perspective from the Chinese government's point of view with respect to China's human rights record and its economic power and the Communist Party that rules China, the status of Taiwan. The list goes on and on. So the senator's letter states that American students should be exposed to a variety of languages and cultures, but that instruction should not be a vehicle to advance the interest of a totalitarian power, which brings us again that call for an audit.
Yeah, Craig, it makes sense. A foreign power, especially with China's reputation now, picking teachers, picking the textbooks. What exactly, though, do the senators want the U.S. Department of Education to investigate?
Well, among other things, any and all public school funding and grants from groups that are linked to the Chinese government, going back years in time, a review of the content those groups produce. Bottom line, they're calling for a nationwide audit, and not just of money and content linked to the government of China, but also other adversarial governments as well. So they're calling for a pretty wide-ranging review.
Okay, Craig Patrick in studio for us. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.